Yeah, so here we go again. Hi there, I'm Ben. This is my substitute for psychotherapy. I call it solo therapy. Um, Drink some tea, talk about life and all. Uh, Last week I was very happy with what I got done. Um, I managed to apply for Citizens Money. I managed to apply for a job. I even managed to go to film club and stay there for most of the event. Admittedly, I didn't partake. I didn't even listen, but I was there, so that's progress. Today's tea is actually not the usual Gyokuro Nakatani. It's Sencha Haru. There we go. It's Sencha Haru from Kyoshima, mixed by Master Takata in Uchi. It is recommended by my tea dealer of choice as a good everyday tea. I've had it several counts in the past, never in my own place or with my own tea set, but you know, that's just how it goes. Was vacuum packed. I took it out the freezer in the fridge about a week ago, and then from the fridge to outside the fridge a few days after, just because might as well thaw it out proper and all. It's the first time I'm doing a non-gyokuro tea here. Considering tea tea, not infusion tea. I had chamomile infusions last week, I believe it was, because I did have a bit of a cold. Was a bit of a bummer, but it's just how life go, I guess. That's what comes with being restrained to a human body. Yesterday I had a fairly productive day. Today I had a fairly productive day. Proper sealed at my tea airtight here. There we go. Just like so. Because this is not going in my Gyokuro tea jar. Had a very productive day Sunday, yesterday and today, I guess. Today, could have been more productive, but I'm fairly happy with what I've done, even though I ain't done much. I managed to cook myself dinner. I guess bake is the right term because it was pizza. It's the first time to my recollection that I've ever made pizza dough or pizza. Worked out right. I still got 2/3 a tray remaining, just because I've done a whole tray, but it's a bit much for one evening. Surprise. That's actually a really rather pleasant surprise for me. Yesterday morning I had my appointment with a company that specialises in getting autistic and ADHD people jobs. It's to my understanding. Apparently they also offer coachings and so on. It's kind of part of a very big Pandora's box opened with being in contact with that company. And I'm gonna have to make a decision soon based on that, and very soon. And I'm leaning towards trusting a person I've met once at that company. They are also an Asperger autism, or these days it is referred to differently, but I prefer this term, so I shall use that. Asperger syndrome. Their bosses, their colleagues are, their husband is, their kid is, so it's quite nice. I feel there's an inherent bigger trust one give another person who differ from the norm in the same way oneself does. Is the best way of putting it, I guess. Yeah, but in the end of the day, according to them, and I don't deem it too unlikely, they thought about it more than I have, and they have way more experience in the field, so it's fair enough, I guess. My applications thus far have been total BS. My curriculum is not up to par. And apparently the templates would be even worse than my curriculum, so I did do something right, but, apparently it's not up to shot. So if I do make this decision, which I am very likely to do so, I am going to accept being unemployed for the next few months, which is going to be an interesting box because I don't know if I can economically manage that. I mean, I've applied for Bürgergeld, Citizens Money. They've now sent me a customer reference number, so I have that, and a load of forms with what they want from me, some of which I cannot provide and some of which I must procure to provide. What I cannot provide is, for example, my disability ID, though I managed to apply for that on Saturday, which I'm very happy about as well. I can't send them a copy of that yet because I ain't got it, you know. They want it by the 2nd of Nov, so I'll hope to have it by then, but find out, I guess. It's just kind of meh. I mean, they already have my affirmation of me being disabled, the official Bescheid certification of me being disabled, and now they want my disability ID, which I do not have yet because the bureaucracy was too much a nightmare for me to manage, even though it was just go and get a passport picture taken, which I did manage before the last time I spoke. So finally got around to all that. That's somewhat solid, I guess. I'm really rather happy with that. They also want some other stuff like exmatriculation confirmation from uni and so on. I'm due to get that on the 29th of Nov, but the 29th of November is after the 2nd. Oh, might as well. I haven't started with the formalities. Today is 2024 10-23. It's this Wednesday. The time is 10 to 8 in the PM. Yeah. So I'm not going to have my official degree piece of paper by the time they want it, which means I'll have to go to uni, well, to where my uni now is, because they moved in the short time that I went there. They've already moved. And I'll have to get an official certification of exmatriculation, which I'm sure they'll have not the slightest on how to do because no one ever needs it. Because most people don't end up unemployed right after uni. Many manage to get a job way ahead of time, so they got a job for when they get out of school, you know. I mean, I thought I'd had a job. Turns out I didn't. Yeah, it's for my benefit after all. I wouldn't be happy there. Then again, apparently I may not be happy at the places I've applied at since then, which is what that coaching has got me to. They actually seem to care very much about getting something permanent. So not short to mid-term, not months to years, or maybe years to decades, but decades to life. Which, though apparently it's one of my skills, thank you very much for saying so, Mr. Michal. Sorry for mispronouncing your name if I am, but M. Dobber. I'm not that reflected to have noticed that. So I wasn't worried about the long term because who knows, you know. Could be that tomorrow I try and go to uni to get my certification for exmatriculation and I'm run over. Walking from the car to uni. Never know. But overall, if I am making the effort to get a job and hopefully successfully, something chronic, permanent wouldn't be too bad, you know. It's just meh. So that's going to be the new aim. But it's also going to mean I'm probably going to have to go even further into debt and be more of a, in my eyes, burden on my family and friends. Something I don't like, but it's how it is. I have taken on a bit more debt since I last spoke. Fairly confident that happened since I last spoke. Because the car with the workshop and general inspection also needed some new... what are they called? Ball bearing connecting joints for drive on the front. Don't actually know the proper term, sorry for that. But I didn't have the money and I asked the workshop guys, alright, if I pay you late? And he said, yeah, right. Before he installed them, I asked him, so that's at least, you know, I was transparent with that. And I then promised them a bottle of their favourite booze along with the money once I got it, because, you know, I think I shouldn't have promised it. I should have just done it once I got the money, because now I got the promise, so now it's not just a matter of getting the money, but getting the money plus interest in form of a bottle of booze, which is, I guess, playing myself into a corner by being too transparent. Apparently, a lot of NT people just say what they believe others want to hear, which for me is mind-blowing, to be fair. Because if someone asks my opinion on something, why would I lie to them and tell them what they want to fucking hear? Sorry for swearing there, but, there's no bloody point. You might as well tell the truth. And the term the person at the company I was at yesterday used for my applications and career choices thus far was grabbed out of the blue mist, out of the fog. And I guess that's kind of right. I hadn't realised there was such a thing as professional job coaching, where people find out what jobs are suited for you, because apparently that's a thing that's not taught in schools. I don't think it'd be part of school, but I must have missed all those days in my life, I mean, I did miss quite a few school days. Overall, I was probably not in school for one of the 14 years I was in school. Because, mental hospital, bicycle accident, etc., etc. I mean, there's a reason I've done 14 years and never even visit 13th grade, even though regularly it's 13 full years, because I've done 10th grade twice. Yeah, so for that job coaching, I guess another reason they have more trust from me is because they are a non-profit. They are a limited company with non-profit aspects. So General Purpose Ltd. Equivalent, GmbH, GmbH, gemeinnützige Gesellschaft mit beschränkter Haftung. Sorry for the German, it's just the correct term, so I had to. And I don't think they have any incentives to screw me over. Then again, I thought so with my former place of internship when I had an offer from them and accepted it, So I might well be getting railed again. It's not within the realm of my possibilities to limit that. So I'm not even going to bother trying. I'm just going to blindly trust, because what have I got to lose? I haven't even gotten minimum wage job thus far, so yeah. And according to them, that is me underselling myself, which might very well be fair. I don't see what they could make of telling me future could be bright without it actually being bright. I don't think they're sadistic like that. Who knows? I'll find out soon enough. Then again, if I am going to remain unemployed for the next few months, maybe the rest of the year, probably the rest of the year, maybe more, it's even more critical that I manage to get together citizens' money and actually get it approved, which means providing documents that do not exist in places, and some of which are beyond my control to procure. I cannot get my disability ID any quicker anymore, because before I even knew they required it, I'd applied for it, and the rest is just bureaucracy, and I got to wait for the due process to happen. I don't know what they'll do. I mean, they might just not give me money, in which case, who knows what? I'll have to be more of an, in my eyes, burden. But realistically, I mean, they got a field on there. I'll just actually might as well get the letter. Okay, my tea's not going to spill. It's not full enough. I'll just get their letter thing. I sent this huge bloody envelope. And the crazy thing is, there is a field on this which says I don't want to misquote, so I'm getting the actual paperwork out, trying to not dox myself. There we go. I have sustained life with me and the other occupants of my Society of Needs. Quote, den Lebensunterhalt von mir und den Mitgliedern meiner Bedarfsgemeinschaft habe ich während der vergangenen Monate wie folgt finanziert. Unquote. Which basically means, I kept afloat using this. And the funny thing is, I'll get to put in their debts. Which I'm in no way, size, shape or form happy to have debts. But I reckon that's about the best thing you can put in that field. Because, it's what I've been doing. Thanks to my sponsors. Thanks, Mum. It's kind of shit. I really want to stand on my own feet. And the way it's looking like, I'm not going to manage before I've completed my 26th year of life. Which, might have a long life ahead of me. Then again, never know, could be run over by a bus tomorrow. It's kind of a hard-hitting reality. Because one would think so many people manage to sustain themselves. How hard can it be? Apparently, getting to the point of being able to sustain oneself, it's really rather difficult. At least I haven't managed, and I managed quite a lot of things. So, meh. First, I thought the letter I got from Citizens Money thing, job agency. First I thought that was going to be my disability ID because it actually had a small card in it, which was credit card sized, and I felt that through the envelope. Turns out it went. It was just my reference number for them, which is handwritten onto a plastic card. Using like CD, Sharpie, Edding, whatever you might want to call it. CD permanent marker for writing on plastic, I did go shopping. I've actually gone shopping twice since I last talked. Today I went and I spent almost $15, of which admittedly €1.20 was cigarette papes. Some milk and some ingredients for pizza because I didn't have no yeast. I was running low on cheese and I didn't have no salami. With the salami, I didn't actually go with the cheapest. I went with the second cheapest because it looked way more appealing than the cheapest. It was still like $23 a kilo. Admittedly, I didn't get remotely a kilo, but we eat kilos, so might as well have a look at what cost per kilo. It don't matter if a packet is half a kilo or 100 grams. Assuming you all use it all. And last time I'd gone shopping beforehand, I actually spent €24.67, whatever. Admittedly, I did return some deposits, so it would have been more in the first place. But even then, even without the deposit, more than half my bill would have been milk. Today I actually went on foot to the third closest supermarket here because I would not consider the two closer ones. And it was quite torturous just because my knees are not what they could be. I managed without painkiller getting there though and back though, but after I decided, bloody hell, I'm going to take an ibuprofen, which is not something I'm aspiring to because I had in the past, for the ski trip of 9th grade with my secondary school, high school, I guess one might call it. I had done too much ibuprofen. It hadn't worked on me for years for the very same reason. My knees were horrendous. And here I am again, having not consumed any ibuprofen on 3 of the last 7 days, which is rather suboptimal, one might say. Yesterday I managed to not do any ibuprofen, and yesterday was actually the first day in a long, long time I'd done some alcohol. When I say some, I mean I had a glass of whiskey. It's really rather pleasant, some Ardbeg. , I believe, might have been the 08, but... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08. But... 10-year-old, I believe, might have been the 08 Scotch is a nice thing, and I guess I'm lucky in the way that I have Scotch, even though I ain't got money, because at least I can have a nice drink when I deserve it, or when I don't, when I fancy it, and manage to find the energy and remember to pour myself a glass. You know, the challenge of remembering to pour yourself a glass to be drinking, kind of a bummer. My smoking have been down for quite a while. My current average is, I believe, still below 20, my 9-day rolling average, that is. But I have been going up again steadily ever since I've recovered from my cold. Even though I'm rolling because I'm hella broke and can't afford to go to Poland to buy cartons of cigarettes and a tank for diesel, I am still smoking just as much. Partially, presumably, because I got way more time on my hands. Guess it's a bug and a feature at the same time of being unemployed. It's kind of a mythy, you know. Like, you got more time to do things, but you got less money to do things with, so... Well, not that I know having money, because, surprise, in my lifetime I haven't had a steady income. Yay. I have at least been busy for most of my life. You know, school, voluntary social year, studying, uni. That'd at least keep you busy. Now I ain't even got that. For today's snacks, wow, we're 20 minutes in and I haven't even mentioned the snacks. Today I did get some, they are called yeast balls, yeast dough balls, some of these things. They're 35 cents a pop. I got 5 total, I still have 3 remaining. And I got the same amaretti we've had for the past few weeks, past few sessions, just because it's a big packet. These balls are actually quite nice, though they're probably hella toxic. Can't be healthy. Nice and sweet, though. Considering my past 2 shopping trips summed up to less than $40. I keep surprising myself with the stuff I've pack ratted and stashed. I mean, I only have 2 shelving units in the kitchen, and both are, for the most part, well, full. Surprising how much shit I got there and how much of it I've already eaten. Had there, not got there. Had got there. There we go. Proper improper English. Fun with language. I've also played a bit more video games the past couple of days. Just because, you know, I hadn't the bureaucracy to do yet. I only got this huge fuck off of requirements yesterday night. I'll have to chip away at that. Realistically, I'm at least going to have to go by uni, get that exmatriculation confirmation. And because I've got time, I can go by there, tell them I need it, and then wait and take it with me when I leave. I'm not going to email them because fuck email, man. Fuck the email, man. What? No. I just can't be bothered, you know. It's too much hassle. I'm really going to have to figure out big envelopes so I can actually drop it off at theirs. I reckon I'm actually going to drop it off in the mailbox because by the time I got that envelope together, it's going to be this thick. They want my rent contract in copy. They want my study contract in copy. Each of those is already more than 20 pages. I'm not going to be able to afford to send this shit by mail, you know. And it's going to give me an excuse to get out of the house. Because in the past few days, I've actually moved the car surprisingly little. I've had, 2 out of the past 5 days have been car been stood still for all day, not moving it. Diesel costs money after all. yesterday after that appointment, I did go and visit a friend for some lunch and just hanging out, you know. I was already in that part of town, well, close enough anyways. But I decided it was worth it, particularly because I didn't have to expend the diesel to get there for that purpose of visiting a friend. And that friend also has experience with Citizens Money in the past, which is something I'm hoping to be able to benefit off of, and they have offered their help. But sadly, they aren't going to know either how I produce documents that do not exist in this world. At least not to my knowledge. I mean, the office responsible for issuing, there we go, disability IDs have had my image since Saturday night, but realistically that means since Monday morning. Which means that I can only hope they'll start considering printing it by the end of the week. And maybe gets to me by end of next week. But end of next week's already cutting it really close, you know. Also on meta level, unrelated to the previous topics. Thank you very much for the kind comments, man. All of you. All the comments I've received. Rock solid, thank you very much. The past few of these here, sessions of solo therapy, have gone viral, I guess. Endemic. Don't know what else you'd call it. The last one and the 3 ago. So 183 and 185. This is 186. Have both gone triple digits, which is wow. Thank you very much for sticking around and hearing me say this, by the way. Truly means the world to me. It's really a relief, I guess. I got the opportunity to think about why I'm doing this in a public forum just the other day again. And in the end of the day, there's two main reasons. One of which is accountability. I do not dox people. So I'm not going to give names or so. Which is holding myself accountable to the point of thinking before I speak. And the other is knowing my thoughts are out there in the world and anyone I come across could have heard them. Odds are 100 out of 100 people are not going to have heard them. But you never know, you know. There might be that epsilon not equal 0 chance of a person having heard me. Which is really happy news, I guess. Good news. I'm happy to go into the world knowing that. Which also feeds back into the accountability part of it. Yeah, it's just funny how the world works, you know. And I have wondered, because in the end of the day, I haven't even started the coaching with that company. They are going to give me an appointment before it's even granted by the by the agency for jobs, because they're non-profit in the first place anyways. But I am wondering what kind of job we're going to end up with. Because there is some negotiables, some non-negotiables for me. I mean, no matter what, I don't think one can get me to voluntarily do a desk job. When I say desk job, I mean spending time with myself, me and I, at the computer also. I don't think they'll ever want to do that. Just because, yes, okay, time passes less rapidly, but also means 1 hour real time feels like 5. Which means you'll feel like you've worked 200 hours a week, you know. And for me, it's kind of big uncertainty with where I'll end up eventually, assuming they manage to get me to. I am still thinking assuming we want something with upward stability and career paths, etc. I'd love something like think tanks or so, because that's something where historically debates and so on always glow up. I mean, I did ethics classes from grade 2 to grade 12, so 13 years of ethics classes in school. I did student parliament for 2.5 years as director of student parliament and of student council, and sat in student parliament. And that's something where I really glow up, but I don't know if think tanks got any opportunities for me also. And even then, I don't know if that's where we'll end up. But that is closest to a desk job that I could imagine, I guess. And the problem is I don't like desk jobs, but also this company is looking for something sustainable for decades to life of work time. And I don't reckon physical jobs are doable for decades to life. Because at the end of the day, you're giving up some of your body for money. Because yes, surprise, you won't be able to lift heavily until you're in your 50s, 60s, It's just not going to happen. It might be fun for the moment, but it's not sustainable. So it's not what this company's looking for me. It's a group of companies, to be fair, but still, so I wonder what we're going to end up at as my potential future professions. Just because I haven't the slightest. I mean, I thought my ideas were rather solid. Admittedly, I do agree now. I hope it's not just copium, and I hope it's not them being very convincing. I do agree with what they said, though. It was basically gotten from thin air ideas of my career path. Oh, I like driving. Let me drive for a living, The job I've applied for on Sunday, before all this, that is, I still haven't got feedback from. That would be for driver for securing of traffic, which is something I really like. I could see a world in which it is sustainable, though this company does not. Fair enough, The world in which it is sustainable is an optimistic, idealistic world, which is not the real world, sadly. And sadly, we are restrained to the real world for occupations. That's kind of a bummer, but that's life, I also been meaning to get my place cleaned up. And you see a nice white wall behind me, but you aren't looking that way, so that's fine. Don't look that way. And I reckon with the time I have, I'll probably start chipping away at it, even more so than I have in the past. I mean, the Doom pile on my desk that is not in front of my keyboard, but to the side, is now a year's worth of Doom pile. And I do have some really important stuff in it. I know where it is, but it's also not very tidy, And I also got to get the place vacuumed sometime. One other thing I did do today, though it might not be responsible, to my understanding with the job agency, the main thing they care about is how much money you have in your bank account. Then again, I don't know if I'll get money from them for next month, so I still want enough to pay next month's rent and bills. I did order myself some hygiene products and windscreen wipers off of Amazon, which will go off my bank account. It's probably like $40 in total. Just because otherwise they'll say, ooh, but you have money in your bank account. You aren't getting money from us. Just because I haven't spent the money that I need to spend. Then again, I don't know if that's wise or not so wise. Because at the end of the day, if they end up screwing me over just like BAföG and the Office for Student Loan / Grant scheme called BAföG, which is half interest-free credit, half grant. In which case, I'd better not have the money in the first place, But the way they screwed me over, long story short, is I got money for my internship. I spent more than that on getting to my internship and back home because it was on the other side of town. I ended up getting less money from them, which means I had less money to spend after all. And I kind of have been chronic broke even as a student. That was working. It's kind of funny how that worked. Come to think of it, with this letter, they want me to declare my past income. I don't think I'll declare my internship because that was not income. I spent that money on getting to my internship. It's going in and going out again. So it's net zero or minus operation. Then again, they might very well want that knowledge. Don't know if they're entitled to it, but net zero or minus operations are not worth disclosing, in my opinion, because I got to disclose them and I only got so much time. You know, I feel the more experience in life I get, the more I understand my dad's perspective on life of duck and dive. For what the man can't see, he can't bully you for. Just because, you know, I mean, I understand the importance of rules, but I feel the people making the rules do not. For the idea of following rules at times blindly is simply limiting oneself to rules have reasons. I do not need to understand the reasons if I can trust the authorities that issue the rules. Sadly, in reality, it's not always like that because rules are more like guidelines for most of society. But, you know, if I make a rule, I mean, I've tried so in the past, for example, with inventory at my former place of internship after my internship. I made rules and they were not followed, but that was not my problem because it's not my inventory. I did my level's best. And their people are not within my control. Which kind of meant, oh yeah, people did a half-assed job because they didn't understand the rules were rules. For they are rules of logic, you cannot break them. I feel like I'm the joke in the equation a lot of the time. Just because I am not understanding enough of the flexibility of systems or the implied flexibility of the human system. I don't know. I did notice some irony about that though. In film and television, autistic people are commonly depicted with very little to no masking. And that's why I always thought, well, come on, these characters are older than I am. You can't tell from the outside that I'm autistic. The more I think about it, though, the more I reckon that's just optimism. People can apparently smell 5 miles against the wind that I am autistic. And I guess that's how those characters in those films are portrayed in that TV, you know. So it's just a matter of perspective. I would have thought in a conversation with me, assuming I don't mention I'm autistic or I'm hyper-focused on something and mention that, with me or with 10 neurotypical people, you could not pick me out. Might have been some false optimism there, I don't know. Find out eventually, you know, probably not, but you know. In the end of the day, I'll probably always stand out as a black sheep in the crowd. Figurative black sheep, that is, of course. Different. Abnormal. Special. Yeah, I mean, I've had this tea on many accounts. I've never had it in my own place because I didn't actually buy this. It was given to me for the 5th anniversary of the tea joint, which I'd been a recurring customer for about a year at that point. Came with a bag of goodies, which had some tea biscuits in it as well, some infusions, nice stuff, you know. 5th anniversary of the tea joint. Hell, that's impressive. Yeah, so I reckon, well, for the longest time I reckoned, one could not tell I was autistic if I invested the effort for people to not be able to tell. But turns out, no matter the effort I invest, it's not worth it. I mean, I've stopped caring to invest the effort for quite a while now. But turns out, even when I had cared to invest the effort, it didn't make a difference. I mean, when I first got my diagnosis 4 years ago now, I told some of my former teachers, at that time colleagues, because it was my voluntary social year in my former school, oh, by the way, I'm autistic. I just got tested. I passed. I said, oh yeah, of course, I've known all this time. But I guess it's because they're not mental health professionals, also that they never feel the idea of expressing so, assuming they do actually know. And I mean that the sample size is significant enough of people, mid double digits these days, that told me, oh yeah, I've always known you were autistic. So, you know, I'm starting to believe it, because I don't think that's a major grand conspiracy of just neurotypical people telling people, oh, by the way, if someone tells you they're autistic, say you've always known. Like. I guess the good news is, even if I am unemployed, I've gotten the offer from my sister to pay for diesel money to get down south, down to the home turf where I'm from originally, for Christmas. And I guess I'll have to do that. Good news is I now got a general inspection on the car, so at least I'll feel safe in doing so. And I ain't got to worry about it for another couple of years, by which time I'll most certainly either have a job or be permanently unemployed. Who knows? Yay, optimism. Apparently, a lot of these job agencies, when they find out you are autistic and disabled, legally disabled and or autistic, try to get you to the state of unemployable, not capable of working, and basically early retirement, which is not something I aspire to. I mean, I wouldn't mind the money, but I certainly need the structure and life of a job, and I know I am capable of doing a job. Because as recent as 5 years ago, I was certified by accidental insurance of my home state, homeland. There we go, homeland, European English. Say the German states are land, so it's my homeland. That I was more than 85% capable of doing a job, and I've not had any accidents since. My physique hasn't changed, my mental attitude hasn't changed much. Well, it has changed some, evidently. I mean, I've documented and I've seen it myself when I watch back some old ones of these, but you know, not in terms of workability. Which means I am still more than 85% capable of doing a job, and I've had it certified by a land's government, well, indirect organisation that is necessitated by a land's government. Which I guess means I can't be gaslit into believing that I am not jobbable. Because you can't say, oh yeah, you are more than 85% capable of doing a job, and also, by the way, you're not capable of doing a job. You can't have it both ways. It's kind of funny how that works, you know. And I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to yeah. I'm gonna have to go to the job agency sometime soon. Well, on the regular. It's luckily not that far. It's like 15 minutes drive from here. It's not too bad diesel either. Though I can't afford it. I'm gonna have to go there just to annoy the shit out of them. First off, for this one document, I need to enter this coaching agreement, which I might as well because I haven't got a job. You know, I believe they have no evil intent, no ill intent. So might as well try and use it. It's an offer that exists apparently. The government will pay for it, so it don't even cost me money. It'll give me some structure in life, 2 appointments a week. I mean, there's more appointments than regular therapy have, so, you know, hell, it's probably worth it just for the appointment's sake. And if I end up with a great curriculum after, and perspective on what kind of job I want, maybe even a job, who am I to complain? I just really got to hope I end up with something I actually care for, and I'm not gaslit into wanting to do something I don't actually want to do, which is going to be a tough one. I still don't understand why people aren't direct all the time. I'll never get it. Humans. Bloody weird species. Most of them suffer from something known as the human condition. The sad thing is, I understand why we are in a capitalistic society, and I understand why it is necessary considering the variable of humans. But I think we'd all be better off if we weren't in one. It's just I don't have the alternative that is better. I don't have any particular in mind, because I don't think there is one. Or at least not one that has been discovered by humankind. There we go. I'm pretty sure this is the last 7 of tea I got going, so that'll be ready shortly. It's my 30-second hourglass. Is it a 30-second glass or is it a 30-second hourglass? Who knows? If you know, tell me. Thank you very much for sticking around and hearing me talk to myself, to you, to my phone, whatever you may want to call it. It truly means the world to me. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it. But I always look on the bright side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten. And that's to laugh and smile and cheer and sing and cheer. There we go. Took me a moment. Still a great hit of all times. Yeah. I'll hopefully be able to stand on my own legs, let's say in 6 months' time or so at least. Though I may not have a job tomorrow, or the day after, or even this year. I'll hopefully have a job by, let's say, May next year. Worst case. Optimistic. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who will? That's something I thought of, which is poetic the other day. It is one's responsibility to believe in oneself. Even though I'm preaching, not do as I preach, not as I say, and all, you know. Because it is no one's job to believe more in you than you do in yourself. It's my opinion, anyways. Though I don't believe in myself. Thank you very much, people who drop comments, for believing in me. I hope you manage to believe in yourself. I'll see you around. Stay safe. Cheerio.